All right. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight or this afternoon for our second annual Our Community Salutes, Manor, Texas, which is started last year for our community to come together and give the first thank you to our seniors graduating from high school going into the military. This is our second annual one, and even with the current COVID-19 situation going on, we still wanted something to happen, to occur, to give this special thank you to those taking this unique career path to fight for freedom, to defend other people that may not be able to defend themselves. It means a lot, even as a veteran. One veteran to another is not supposed to say thank you. So your service, your future service is greatly appreciated. And with that, we will go ahead and get this event started. Next slide, please. Hold on 1 second, having a little technical difficulty on the slides. Just 1 second. All right, so I will be serving as your master of ceremonies. This is Mayor Wallace. So I'll be serving as master of ceremonies just to kind of help navigate through this program this year. The true master of ceremonies is going to be this gentleman I'm speaking about right now, but given a certain situation, I'm just going to assist with guiding this program through. We have 3 different locations working to make this thing happen this afternoon. Next slide, please. So this gentleman I'm about to bring up is currently the post commander for our Manor American Legion, Post 331, Mr. Michael Strand. Michael Strand is a 1997 graduate of Georgetown High School. As a 17-year-old junior at Georgetown High School, he joined the U.S. Army Delayed Entry Program. When Michael turned 18, he felt a calling of civic service and trained with the Williamson County Victim Services. And just a few days after graduating high school, was on-call representative for the May 27, 1997 Murrell, Texas tornado. Just 17 days later, on June 13, on a Friday, June 13, 1997, he enlisted full-time in the U.S. Army as an E-1 private, reported for basic combat training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and then on August 29, 1997, he reported for advanced individual training at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, training as a 96 Romeo, or a ground surveillance systems radar operator. Upon graduating from advanced individual training, he was assigned to the 104th Military Intelligence Battalion, 4th Infantry Division, down at Fort Hood, Texas. While stationed at Fort Hood, Michael was trained as a combat lifesaver, post-paint booth operator, and represented his unit on the post-swim team. In 1999, Michael was transferred to the 102nd Military Intelligence Battalion with the 2nd Infantry Division at Camp Esons in the Republic of South Korea. He spent the last 13 months of his enlistment there and exited the military as an E4 or specialist in June 2000. After returning from Korea, Michael was assigned and trained as a U.S. Army Reserve firefighter assigned to one of only 2 firefighting units in the Army in Houston, Texas. Michael is married to Olga Strand and has 2 children, Ivana 16 and Michael Jr. 7. Michael is also the charter commander for the newly formed Jesse Samparia American Legion Post 331, Manor, Texas. Michael? If you could put the live feed up, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City of Manor, Manor Police Department, Manor ISD, Dr. Avery. Good afternoon, seniors, families, and distinguished participants. My name is Michael Strand, and I am the commander of the Jesse Samparia American Legion Post 331 here in Manor, Texas. Manor ISD's 2020 graduating class has 12 individuals who have answered the call of service in the United States Armed Services. Since the draft ended in 1973 and the United States military went 100% volunteer, only about 0.5% of Americans have answered this calling. Whether you choose to make this a lifelong career or serve for only 1 tour of duty, you have chosen to write a blank check to the American people, and for this your family, friends, community, state, and nation will be forever grateful. I encourage you to make the most out of whatever time you choose to serve. Take full advantage of every opportunity that will be afforded to you. Have fun, make long life friends, but above all else, be safe. I take great pride in and on behalf of the Jesse Samparia American Legion Post 331 family, welcoming you to this elite class of Americans, the American veteran. Thank you for this colossal decision you have made to serve your country, and Godspeed.
Appreciate it, sir. Next slide, please. Now we will have our Manor Police Department, their color guard, come up as we next do the national anthem. So please, for those of you, especially recruits, you know what's going to happen. Please do the proper thing to stand up and pay homage to our national flag. Please go to the live feed.
Honor guard, John, Harry, colors, right, face, forward, march, honor guard, halt, left, face, freeze, colors, Harry, colors. Right, face. Forward, march.
All right, thank you, Manor Police Department for that. Next up will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Recruits, this is going to be the one portion out of this whole program where you get to let your voice be heard. Please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Next up, we are going to be moving to our invocation. For the invocation, we have our distinguished Pastor Alex Montes-Vela, who is the pastor for the St. Mary Magdalene Episcopal Church. Father Alex is the founding priest of the St. Mary Magdalene Episcopal Church here in Manor, which began in his home in early 2010, after meeting at the Manor High School cafeteria, as well as in Manor area parks and at the local Lions Club Hall. For 4.5 years, the St. Mary Magdalene community moved to its own location. St. Mary Magdalene has become a multi-ethnic community that worships and lives life bilingually, meaning English and Spanish. Alex has a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering from the University of Houston and a Master's in Divinity from the Virginia Theological Seminary in Alexandria, Virginia. Alex served as an enlisted member of the United States Army within the Field Artillery and participated in the first Gulf War, Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Father Alex was also stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Fort Stewart, Georgia, and Camp Casey, South Korea. Two people from South Korea. All right, from the Korea area. Father Alex is married to Ty. Did I say it correctly? T, and has 3 adult children. Father Alex, please come up. Please go to live feed.
Let us pray. Gracious God, in you we live and move and have our being. We humbly pray for those who have enlisted in the United States Armed Forces, dedicating their lives to the service and protection of others. Guide and protect them, and fill them with the assurance that your presence and love is with them wherever they may be. We also pray for their families, that they may be filled with your peace. We commend to your gracious care as well in keeping all the women and men of our armed forces, at home and abroad. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which you set them, and grant them a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. We pray these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Father Alex. Next slide, please. All right, now we're moving into the guest and keynote speaker. So I'm not going to read my own bio. That seems kind of selfish. So with that, what I really want to be able to say, having served roughly 20 years in the military, retired both as an enlisted person, and was a drill sergeant, and retired as an officer, having the fortunate opportunity to work not only within human resources organizations, to work with field artillery organizations, to lead within NATO, to lead within special operation organizations, to have been stationed overseas, deployed, and having to have those different opportunities of engaging with people. You are going into a profession unlike any other, where you have a contract that you will be obligated to fulfill. Unlike any other profession, you must fulfill your obligation. Failing to fulfill your obligation to the best ability that you can do means a lot of the benefits and programs that are established for us once you leave the military, to have a leg up to those, not in a negative sense, that have not served, but a leg up for those that could have lost their lives for people they never knew. There are things that because of your service, you become a part of the only 0.4% that serve the military at any given time for our U.S. of America. At any given time, there's no more than 20% of the whole U.S. population that will ever know the trials, the tribulations that you will go through. You and first responders, emergency response teams, we, the blue and the green, will have a bond for life. You know, when I was in NATO, I supported 40 different partner nations. You will learn different cultures, different ways of life that will change you for the better. Being deployed and being in charge of people their whole life of how they live within the barracks, how they live on base, you will come to understand a meaning of fully taking care of people holistically and not just worrying about what they do on the job, but how other factors can impact how they do things on the job. Like not having the money they need to take care of the basic needs, not having the type of house that they need or space that they need to properly take care of their family, not doing the proper education and training they need to get promoted, to be able to get increased pay. You will see as you continue to climb those ranks within the 2, 3, 4 years you've been listed in, those become things that every service member will be expected to become a part of their natural lives. Because that, in its sense, in its essence, is leadership. That is the profession of arms when you join the military. That will be the thing that carries you onto greater things once you get out. And I don't want to take the words in the trumpet from my dear friend, Sergeant Major retired Feliece Murrell, who's going to be your guest speaker, because she has an extensive career. And let me go ahead and read that as I go ahead to introduce her. Next slide, please. All right. Sergeant Major retired Feliece Murrell was born the daughter of a soldier in Landstuhl, Germany. She grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, and now resides in San Antonio, Texas. She began her U.S. Army career in October 1989, attending basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, graduating as a human resources specialist. Later, she reclassified to the Army recruiting career management field. Prior to retiring from the U.S. Army, Ms. Murrell spent her last years serving as the Chief of Education and the Senior Educational and College Degree Program Analyst and an Associate Professor at the U.S. Army Non-Commissioned Officers Leadership Center of Excellence and the U.S. Army Sergeant Majors Academy at Fort Bliss, Texas. That is the most senior school in the U.S. Army for the most senior enlisted advisors in the military. While serving in the U.S. Army, Ms. Murrell held assignments in Fort Riley, Kansas, Camp Casey, South Korea, 3 of y'all now, Fort Carson, Colorado, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Fort Benjamin Harris, Indiana, Fort Carson, Colorado, Fort Meade, Maryland, Fort Eustis, Virginia, Fort Knox, Kentucky, Salt Lake City, Utah, Los Angeles, California, Fort Sam Houston, Texas, and lastly, Fort Bliss, Texas. Ms. Murrell was promoted to the most senior enlisted rank and also selected to serve as a brigade command sergeant major. She was honorably selected as the first female for the inaugural Sergeant Major Academy Fellowship Program with the Pennsylvania State University, graduating in the top of her class. Ms. Murrell's military education includes all levels of the non-commissioned officer professional education system, including the prestigious U.S. Army Sergeant Major's Academy. She graduated from several other developmental courses and earned a Bachelor's of Science degree from Oakland City University, a Master's of Science degree from Webster University, and a Master's of Education degree from the Pennsylvania State University. Her military awards include the Legion of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Medal, Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Ribbon, Non-Commissioned Officer Professional Development Service Ribbon, Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal, Glenn E. Murrell Award, Army Recruiting Ring, and the Gold Recruiter Badge. Ms. Murrell is married to Command Sergeant Major retired Darren R. Murrell, and they have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. It is my honor to turn the mic over to Sergeant Major retired Feliece Murrell. Can you please unmic her?
Thank you, Mayor Wallace. I appreciate that introduction and don't like hearing my bio read back to me, but I appreciate this and the opportunity. So like many of our young men and women who have just graduated high school, I was in your shoes back in 1989, long before many of you were a twinkle in your mom's and dad's eyes. I know here in that year, 1989, I feel old myself just saying that. But I just wanted to give you just some words of encouragement to help you as you embark on one of the most important decisions you will probably make in your life by serving our country as our newest service members. I want to first thank you for doing just that, for making the decision to join the ranks of our military services. It's something that's going to change your life and make you just such a much better person. I've enjoyed my time. I spent 30 years in the Army, and I definitely enjoyed my time. I've gained so many friends for life during my time in the Army. There were so many opportunities being a service member, and you'll get the opportunity yourself to take advantage. But I wanted to talk to you today about the challenges that you're going to face. Graduating from high school is a challenge in itself because of the time it takes, the efforts it takes, and just the life in general that you live as a high school student. And now you've made the decision to take on the challenge of serving your country. And I thank you for making this decision, and our country thanks you. I want to tell you a little story about the challenge coin, which is a part of our traditions in the military services. So the purpose of the challenge coin was just a part of tradition that helped build camaraderie amongst our military personnel over the years. Carrying the challenge coin is one of the most well-respected. Challenge coins are essentially small tokens or medallions that signify that people are members of a certain organization, ours being the military services. It's not completely clear exactly where and why the challenge coin tradition began, but we do know that military service and coins go back to the modern age, probably as far back as ancient Rome. If Roman soldiers excelled in battle, they received their typical day's wages along with a bonus coin. These bonus coins were specifically minted featuring marks of their specific legions. Some soldiers kept their coins as a memento, and some spent it. But it was important to every soldier because it meant that they took on the battle challenge. And this relates to me to your recent high school graduation. Taking on the challenge to enlist and serve our country as a new service member. Graduating high school is such an important feat in itself, and probably one of the most significant challenges that you've had thus far in your life. Enlisting in our country's military services is your second challenge, and probably your first as an independent adult. The greatness of this is that you're becoming a member of one of the most prestigious organizations in the world, the U.S. Armed Forces. So I welcome you to our military ranks and our traditions, and I challenge you to continue upholding the traditions of all services and our armed forces. And I thank you for taking on the challenge to support and defend our U.S. Constitution. Again, congratulations on your graduation from high school, and congratulations on taking the challenge of becoming our newest service members. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Sergeant Major Murrell. And before we move to our next segment, I just want to add one additional thing, especially for the community members watching and the family members that are watching. We have our American Legion Post 331. One of the things that the post commander wants to do is try to make sure we corral around each other, make sure family members are best informed of what to expect in the military, what services, what benefits are available. One of the key things as you go into the military is everything is available to you. It's up to you to lose access to them. So use us. Reach out to the American Legion. At the end of this program, we're going to have Councilwoman Emily Hill. She's going to tell you about another program as well for mothers. One of the goals of this is not just to tell you thank you, which is the most important goal, but also to make sure everybody knows different services, different programs, different benefits that are out there. And then as you go into your different phases, as Sergeant Major retired Murrell said, from basic training to advanced training to your first duty station to others, there is a group of us that know other people that even if we don't know, we can hopefully be someone you can lean on to make sure you make the right and smart decisions early on. Because the military is also one of, if you find out after, you may be on a career course that you didn't necessarily intend. So please use us to help out. And moving on now to the next portion of our agenda is Ms. Emily Hill. She is currently a city council member on place 1 in Manor, Texas. She is the vice president for PTA for Manor High School and the Manor Senior High School and the Manor Early College High School. In addition, Ms. Hill is an active member of the Manor Chamber of Commerce, founding member of the Manor Toastmasters chapter, and also a longtime mentor for the Manor Independent School District Mentorship Program. Ms. Hill is an avid community volunteer with a focus on supporting the City of Manor Youth Development, a volunteer member with Share the Wheel Foundation, and a volunteer member with the Manor COVID-19 Disaster Relief Group. When Ms. Hill is not volunteering or operating as a city council member. She is managing her role as a controller for Marriott International. In addition, she is a managing partner with Comtech Computer Services and runs her mobile notary service as well. She is a mother of 3 and a wife of Dwight Hill for 15 years. Her son, Benny, is 18 years old, and he was a part of the Our Community Salutes last year, the inaugural event. He graduated from Manor Senior High School and enlisted to the Army as an 89 Bravo or ammunition specialist, serving now in South Korea for people within Air Assault Unit. She also has her other son, Daniel, 16 years old, who attends Manor High School and is excelling in academics and is also in athletics. Her daughter, how do I say it? Amira. I want to make sure I say it right. Is 11 years old, crowned the 2018 Little Miss Manor, was nominated and selected to work for State Senator Kirk Watson as a Senate page during the 2019 legislative session, in which she was also recognized by the Manor Independent School District Superintendent and school board members as the first Manor student to ever have been selected for the Senate page program. I now turn the mic over to Councilwoman Hill. Can you please go to the live feed?
Welcome, all recruits and parents and the community for watching this afternoon. First, I do want to say, enlisted seniors, let me congratulate you all. You are the second group of students and scholars to be recognized at an OCS event specifically here in Manor, Texas. You are a different person now than what you were as a freshman. You feel it, your principals and teachers see it, and your parents know it. You have more confidence because you have prospered in a tough place. I applaud you for making one of the most difficult decisions of your life. So on behalf of your PTA, we thank you for your commitment and willingness to serve your country. It is because of the sacrifice to join that we are able to enjoy our freedoms. I salute you and your community salutes you. Next slide, please. So this is a list of our new recruits, both from Manor Senior High School and the Manor New Tech High School. This is just so you can see who is graduating, who will be receiving these coins and certificates. Next slide, please. And this is what your certificate will look like. I'm just going to quickly read what's on there for those who are watching. Okay, this is a certificate of honor. It is presented to the enlisted senior's name for selfless volunteering to serve our nation in whichever branch you enlisted in. As honor, you can claim. As those who came before you, you represent what it means to be an American, both at home and abroad. No matter where your service takes you, you know that you will forever remain a child of Manor, Texas. Your community stands behind you. No matter where you are and what you may need, we are here for you. You are Manor, and our community salutes Manor, April 30th, 2020. And I just want to add lastly for the parents of the enlisted seniors, there is a program called Blue Star Mothers of America. They do support all mothers or parents that have enlisted children in the military. This is a great organization. I highly recommend it. I myself am a Blue Star mother. So I will actually reach out to all of you via email just to send you that contact information. They do offer a wide range of support for you and for your child as well, such as care packages or any variety of different things they may need abroad, whether they're overseas or stateside. So I will get that out to you sometime this week. But again, I want to thank you, and parents, I do want to thank you as well. This was a very hard decision to make for your child. I applaud you for encouraging them, and I applaud you for supporting their decision as well. Thank you. Next slide, please. I do want to give you a brief illustration of the challenge coin that your senior will be receiving. Sergeant Major Murrell did briefly go into the significance of this coin. It is a very special coin. I have one myself. My son has one. These are actually, they have high importance. Right now, your enlisted senior may not see the importance of it. I know my son didn't at first, but as they get into the military and start serving and traveling, they're actually going to see how important these coins are. They'll probably get a variety of them from different other ranking officers or as they get promoted, but these are very important. And I would do a little bit more research on it for your seniors so they can get more information for themselves. Next slide, please. This is our Mayor's Challenge coin, and this is a very high-ranking coin. Our mayor being the first African-American mayor elected here in Manor. This is his coin, and so the coins that your enlisted senior will be receiving will come from him. So this is very, very high for us, and a great, great honor as well. Next slide, please.
All right. And one of the great things that we have today, to add to this year's program is having representation from the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Recently, within the last week or two, both City Council and the school district have designated their we have designated the city of Manor as well as the school district as Purple Heart. And so we have the Military Order of the Purple Heart, which is a nationally established organization through Congress, here to formally recognize both of these entities as being designated Purple Heart. And so with us, we have Mr. Jim Bracken, who is the current commander for the local post here. Mr. Jim Bracken was born in Mississippi and commissioned through the Navy Reserve Officer Training Corps program at the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, in 1990. During his 23-year career, he served in the U.S. Marines Operating Forces, Fleet Marine Force, Training and Education Commands, Joint and Coalition Forces, and with foreign militaries. He deployed a total of 8 times overseas, was stationed overseas in Southeast Asia for 2 years, and completed 4 combat deployments, 2 in Operation Iraqi Freedom and 2 in Operation Enduring Freedom. Enduring Freedom was in Afghanistan. He served in command operations and plans positions, instructor assignments, and as a foreign military advisor, retiring as a lieutenant colonel in August of 2013. Jim was elected chapter commander in February 2018 by the members of the Greater Austin area's Military Order of the Purple Heart Veteran Service Organization, known as the Texas Capital Chapter, number 1919, which is the second largest chapter in Texas, with over 580 combat wounded veteran members, and the 7th largest in the United States. The National Military Order of the Purple Heart organization was founded by congressional charter and is a nonprofit veteran service organization under IRS Code 501c19. The Texas Capital Charter raises money each year to support financial assistance programs for veterans in the greater Austin area and provides scholarships, ceremonial support, and quality of life services to our veteran members of our communities, Jim is also a graduate of the Joint Forces Staff College, the Marine Corps Command and Staff, Army Infantry Officer Advanced Course, Marine Corps Amphibious Warfare School, which is a very difficult one to get into. His personal awards include 2 Bronze Stars, Purple Heart for Fallujah, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, 3 Meritorious Service Medals, 3 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals, and 2 Combat Action Ribbons. He works at the Texas Veterans Commission as a program director for the Fund for Veterans Assistance. He is married to, how do I say it properly, sir?
Mary Ruth.
He's married to Mary Ruth from Austin, Texas, and has 3 grown daughters. I like you had that. Grown daughters. All right, I turn the mic over now to Mr. Jim Bracken. Can you please go to the live feed?
Thank you, Mary Wallace. That was fantastic. I didn't know, like the Sergeant Major said, I didn't know you were going to read all of that. If I did, I would have made it much shorter and drawn bigger letters with crayons. So I tell you, I'm blessed to be standing here, recognizing the future leaders of our military. You guys come in all shapes and sizes, from all walks of life, from all initial impressions and intentions. Myself, I did not know I wanted to be in the service, didn't plan on doing it in high school, never thought about joining the Marine Corps. I won't say when I graduated high school because I'm a little older than everyone else has spoken, but I'll just say this. I remember in high school that my baseball coach, varsity baseball coach, he compelled his athletes, his players, to put the team's interest above themselves. And in doing so, taught us a valuable lesson about leadership. We didn't know it at the time. We just wanted to win games and get into the finals and to be the champions. But what he was teaching us was to dig deep, do your part, and produce results. That's what he was teaching us. So after high school, when I was in college, didn't know what was next, I ran into a gunnery sergeant who taught me something else that I remember for the rest of my life, and that is when you see an opportunity and you know you're equipped to do it, seize it, take it. Don't hesitate. Be confident, be bold, and be direct. So that gunny taught me into enlisting. He was a great recruiter, by the way. And I did. And I signed up for the Naval ROTC program. And to this day, my old baseball coach, who is in his 70s, still alive in Alabama now, he and I are in touch. And that gunnery sergeant that recruited me in 1980-something, while I was a student at Ole Miss, he is the godfather of 2 of my 3 daughters. So it runs deep. You never know the opportunity when the military service or some leader in your community or in your school, when someone addresses you in a way that leaves a mark, take notice. Let it become part of the character and let it develop you as the leader you will become. Every one of you right now don't think about being a leader. What you think about is getting through this weird spring semester of your senior year and then joining boot camp whenever that happens based on this weird environment we're in. But when you have the opportunities, seize it. Do something about it. Stand up and be a leader. I'm a part of a unique organization that no one ever wants to be a part of. So I represent, as Dr. Wallace mentioned, a bunch of combat wounded veterans who live in the greater Austin area. And our jobs are now after the military. We're all veterans. And we go about our daily lives, but we all have something in common. And what we do with our time and our effort matters. Still today, we see opportunities and we act on them. And in this case, what we do as an organization of combat wounded veterans is we reach out to communities and to school districts, and we let them know that one way to shape and develop the decisiveness of their future leaders is to put a reminder out there on a street sign that says we both care about our community and our people, but we're also willing to sacrifice and serve. So we, the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 1919, which, by the way, is the Austin chapter, and the reason why it's 1919 is because our founding member was born in 1919. And when he had an opportunity to declare to our national headquarters what number designator we would have, he looked left and right and went, well, I was born in 1919. That sounds like a good number to me, so let's go with that. It's that innocent and that simple. But what we are now, 25, actually 26 years later, is a very powerful veteran service organization. So when veterans in our community, and you will be one soon, when veterans in our community of Greater Austin, when they run into a financial pinch, or they need help with some family activity or some family support item, or when they need anything, they can reach out to us, and we're there, answering the call, still. So, very difficult for me to follow all of the speakers. The Sergeant Major Murrell, fantastic choice of a guest of honor emeritus. She did great, and I loved her words. Commander Michael Strand, thank you for serving your community and showing by example how to stand up and to do something and be decisive and form a post and bring that patriotic element into this community. Awesome leadership, thank you. And don't stop. Mayor Wallace, thank you for all that you've done for both the University of Texas systems and for the city of Manor. I'm going to call you and the city manager up here in a minute because we have designated Manor, Texas as a Purple Heart City. I've been asked, why do you call it a Purple Heart City? And in the beginning, I didn't know why. But then I learned why. It's very simple. There are men and women over the course of many decades that have given everything of themselves. They have given everything of themselves for the community. Some of them are still walking among us, elderly, aging, disabled. Some are not. Some never came home. Some are still missing. And we don't know where they are, but we know that we never forget them. So as you're driving down the street in anywhere USA, and you see that that city is a Purple Heart City, what it means is that the driver in the vehicle who takes a moment to notice, it means that that driver for the next 5 or 10 seconds reflects briefly on the sacrifice of those that gave everything or some in order for us to be free. So I want to make this public announcement and proclaim that Manor, Texas, as a partner, as an example of small towns in Texas be a Purple Heart city. So Mayor Wallace and the city manager, Mr. Tom, would you please come forward and accept this expression of gratitude from the military order of the Purple Heart? Thank you. So I think the live feed is directly. Did I do that? So Mayor, why don't you get in the middle circle? Okay. Right in front of the podium. And so again, on behalf, and I can speak loudly, I'm not a drill sergeant, but I'm loud. But on behalf of all the veterans that are combat wounded in this greater Austin area, we would like to present you in the city of Manor this expression of our appreciation for your example.
Appreciate it.
So,
thank you very much.
Manor, Texas is now a Purple Heart city. Everyone, please applaud. I'll let you have some words before
I give it to the city manager first.
Well, I haven't really prepared to say much, and I'm in the middle of one of my non-COVID coughing fits. Thank you for recognizing the city of Manor. Our military, I don't think we can thank them enough or show them the appreciation they deserve. I know I try to every opportunity that I get, but you're right. Every time somebody drives by that sign, there'll be a nod, a thought, a wink, either acknowledging their own service or thinking about the service someone else is providing. So thank you very much.
Again, appreciate it. Thank you. I know we have history when I was back at the University of Texas system. And I think this only signifies again the uniqueness of our city. We talk about this all the time in City Hall, and even talking with Dr. Avery. This city is all about equality and equity. It has a mixture of representation here of different ethnicities, different cultures, different ways of life. And what better way to continue to show who we are, and what we're about as we continue to grow and have things that still bring us all together around a nucleus of efforts. Right now with the pandemic, we have the COVID relief that we're working together as a community. And then we have our military community doing great things. And how can we continue to show and support our seniors that are going into the military, for them to know that the city is becoming more knowledgeable about the different things that are out there. And it's going to be here to support them, whether they come back home or whether they go somewhere else. That is our goal. That is our effort. And thank you, Military Order of Purple Heart, for helping us to continue to grow and be able to make more life-impacting opportunities here. Thank you. And Mike, back to you, sir.
So as my daughters would always say, are you done yet? I'm not. I've got one more thing I want to do. And this is based on something that Mayor Wallace mentioned a moment ago, which was that the school board came together and discussed the value proposition of designating the Manor ISD, the independent school district, as a Purple Heart school district. And I appreciate what the school board went through to make that determination, Dr. Avery, because it's absolutely the right thing to do. So every school in America, and let's just talk about Texas, because that's what we really care about, but every school in Texas, independent school district, private charter school, whatever it is, they are all producing the thinkers and the leaders of the future. So when I was asked if the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 1919, would be willing to designate the Manor ISD as a school district, Purple Heart School District, I was first honored, humbled, had to take a moment to think of the words, and then I said yes. It was easy, because it represents not just the immediate, but it represents a vision. And we need vision to move through anything in life. So, Dr. Avery, would you and Mrs. Hill please come forward and accept this on behalf of Purple Heart 1919? We did an early reveal. I shouldn't have flipped this sign earlier, but I did anyway. So let's get out in front of the podium and for the audience to see. So let's put you in the middle. Dr. Avery, I'll get on this side over here. And thank you for vision, leadership, and helping our younger adults take a moment to recognize that every community needs a leader, whether they're in uniform or whether they're first responders, but they first need a sense of service, and after that, they need a sense of direction. And school districts stand to do that for our future leaders. So thank you both for leading the school district for this decision. So we're proud to announce that Manor ISD is, a fact, a Purple Heart School District, the very first designated by our chapter in the great state of Texas. You have the microphone, sir. Absolutely.
Again, Jim, thank you. What a great honor for Manor ISD. And on behalf of Manor ISD, myself, school district superintendent, I want to say thank you. Our job as a school district is to, again, develop those leaders and also stand in front of the young people that we serve to be that great leader. And so I hope I have been a steward of that, building and making sure as school superintendent leadership, driving what kids are to be when they become servicemen and women that serve our country. So it's a super honor. We are super proud. We will put this up, and as people drive into the city and drive into our school district, they will be able to say, hey, they are a Purple Heart School District. And so again, it's been a super honor to receive this award for the school district, and so we want to thank you again.
So following instructions from my boss at the moment, Mayor Wallace, he said that when I'm done, I should say that I'm done. I'm done. What I would really like in a passing moment to tell the new enlisted members of the armed forces is to remember what I said about seize the moment, don't hesitate, be bold, be decisive. Ultimately, you will grow into a leader if you're not one already. But on the other side of that service, 4 years or 30 years, the community will welcome you back and look to you to be a leader for the next generation. Mayor Wallace, thank you for the opportunity.
All right, and now to our last segment of the program. Next slide, please. This is going to conclude our program here with the special recognitions by Dr. Royce Avery, the superintendent for our school district. We all know who he is. We all know what he has done. So I will not belabor this. I'm just going to go ahead and invite him right on up to say his remarks. Please go to the live feed.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of myself, School Superintendent Dr. Avery, and Manor ISD, I would like to recognize the 12 seniors from Manor ISD for joining the military. We have, of the 12, we have 3 Air Force, new members of the Air Force, 2 members of the Navy, 4 new members of the Marines, 2 members of the Army, and 1 Army National Guard. These seniors have taken the ASVAB. They have researched the many various military branches, met with recruiters, and they've made decisions to join the ranks of those in their respective branches to be the servicemen and women of our great nation. And we want to say thank you on behalf of Manor ISD for your service, your continued service. And again, we say when you come back to this community of Maine, Texas, we will receive you for your service and honor you for your service. And so we want to say thank you for all the opportunities that you're going to have. And we want you to be the leaders that we have developed you to be as you move through your service branches. Again, I want to thank you. And Mayor Wallace, I'm going to have you come back up and to close.
Well, I thank everybody for taking the time out. I thank for City Hall coordinating this event. This is one of the unique meetings that we put together. I think it went well and it went nicely. I want to thank the Military Order of the Purple Heart for working with us to get the designations done. Again, thank you to Post Commander Michael Strand for coming out here and representing the American Legion Manor Post. I want to thank Father Alex, who is a veteran, for coming out here and giving us the prayer, and Councilwoman Emily Hill, who is a Blue Mother, has her own son over there currently in the military. We had 4 people from serving in Korea, and I haven't served in Korea, so I feel left out. But with that being said, this video is streamed on Facebook, so you can be able to share it, send it to your loved ones. I will give you a hint here. If you want to save the video, copy the link, right click on the actual video when it plays, copy the link, paste it in the website by itself, take out the www, put in an M, it's going to take you to the mobile version, play that, and then you can save it. All right, there you go. So thank you, have a good one, and best wishes on your new journey.